welcome in everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. It is Super Bowl week. I'm finally back home. How's it going, man?
You know what? I'm like starting to chomp at the bit. Like I said, I tell you, I'm really good about keeping my composure
Sure.
through all of this. Like it's like, hey, it's um, that it's a slow build up.
Mhm.
Not this time. I am a lot more excited than I've been in a long time for a game. Like I'm ready for this game tomorrow. I'm excited already. Like I almost want it to be here like now.
I'm with you. I'm looking forward to the game. Should be a good game overall.
I agree. I think and I'll be honest. Like I mean, I am like really confident, and I'm not on the field. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
I think that this could really be a big, like, this is like that the Eagles win this game
Mhm.
like outright, like no questions asked, they win this game. Um and I don't know why I feel that way. I just have this feeling in my gut that it's it. This is it, and this is going to be just an exciting week. Like I said, I'm chomping at the bit here. I'm ready to go. Like I'm packing early. Like I'm like making sure I have all my stuff. I'm bringing a whole extra suitcase with me because I
Yeah.
expect to buy so much stuff down there. Um, like I'm I'm ready to go. I am so pumped and ready to go. So like yeah, it's kind of funny to me because I don't typically get this way. Like I said,
Yeah.
I go visit all these stadiums. I was like, I was there for a week beforehand when I went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And
Yep.
although I was excited, I wasn't like this. Like
Yeah.
I'm giddy. I'm giddy. Like I'm like ready. I'm like really itching and ready
Let's
to go.
go. No, I'm
So
excited to see some of the video you'll probably get on Radio Row and stuff too. Like it'll be cool to see how they do it there. Um, because
yeah,
like that's the biggest Radio Row of any of the games, and so it'll be. I think the draft is probably the only thing that's kind of close to it, but it yeah, it'll be cool to see some of the video you get.
yeah. Like I said, it's I I'm I'm not even sure. It's like I because I've never been on Radio Row,
Yeah.
and I know that there is certain rules that I'm going to have to follow. Like I have to, I'll have to bring my makeup with me.
Yeah.
So like I can paint most of my face, but I can't. I will have to leave this undone
Hmm.
so that I can get the facial recognition and then go run to the bathroom and do it. So it's
Yep.
going to be like from the back, you'll know that it's me. From the front, it'll be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Um, on
Yeah.
on Friday, I think that I am hoping to get together with Jordan Spector, who is like the artist in Philadelphia who does all of like the immortal cards and like all the high end sports art. And we're going to do we did it in Brazil where we did a theme for Brazil, and we're going to do a theme for New Orleans as well that I'll be walking around with on Friday.
Nice.
Um, so we're going to do that live at Radio Row. So that's going to be kind of fun to do as well. It's like this is really I am super super excited. This is just I'm like I said, I'm chomping at the bit, and I don't get this way. I don't get
Yeah.
giddy. I don't get like this. It's like I'm like I want the plane to leave now. I want to be down there now. It's
Yeah.
and there's nothing to do now. There's absolutely nothing to do.
There is
Like,
zero to do. Yeah. Yeah.
so like I get down there tomorrow,
Mhm.
and I'm going to get together with a friend of mine who actually works with the Eagles and works for the Eagles, and
Oh,
we're going to just relax and have a drink, a couple of drinks and stuff like that because it's his day to kind of do not much of anything, and we can't get wasted drunk because one, it's New Orleans, and two, it's like we got a job to do. Like we
yeah.
all have a job to do, so there's
Yep.
no like you're not going to see me wasted or anything like that all weekend long until maybe after Sunday. Like if after
Sure,
we win that
sure.
game, that may be where everything just
The flight home, you're still kind of hammered.
oh, I have no doubt in my mind, no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind, that it's going to be an absolute, you know, tough Monday and
Mhm.
Tuesday, and maybe go into Wednesday. Who knows? um, but it is like I said, it's. But this happened like when I was down in New Orleans last time. Like I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to drink much before the game, and
Yeah.
then after the game, people got videos of me dancing, which is always a scary thought. Of me dancing. Yeah, you see me dancing. Yeah, you're looking at something that looks really like it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So I am not a very good dancer in the slightest bit, but it's this is it. This is it. I'm ready. I am so ready. So if that getting everybody hyped up, yeah, that's like trust me.
Yeah.
By the
Right.
time I get there, it's going to be a big mess for me.
Uh, I'm with all your guys here. Like, I hope the Eagles pull it off. Um, you know, Obviously, I don't have a horse in this race at all, but I don't want to see the three-peat, right? So, like, let's get this dub.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're listening to uh, everybody.
Mm.
Like it's like I'm in Philadelphia, so obviously I'm hearing a lot of the Philadelphia. Like it's just and there is a lot of confidence. There is a lot of confidence on here. It's like it's Saquon Barkley's birthday. It's Cooper DeJean's birthday.
Yeah.
It's like a bittersweet day because it's the 3-year anniversary of my mother passing. So there's a lot happening in this day all the way around. But you know, I'm going to be having my boy Craig there. I've been carrying around the vial with me of Craig, and he's going to be there with me, and
Nice.
it's just going to be epic. And like I said, there's going to be a game. And I might be overconfident. I might be overconfident. They like listen. These are the 2-time world champions that we have to beat.
Yeah.
So, and it's like we could say we got to beat the refs, we got to beat Patrick Mahomes, we got to beat Taylor Swift, we got to beat all that stuff. It is that we gotta do it on the field. It's got to happen on the field,
That's it.
and I think these guys are just. I mean, I can imagine if I'm this excited and this giddy, I think they might be that excited and that giddy. You know what I mean? That there is, that level of, hey, it's time to win this game. We need to win. End of story. So, oh,
I
look at
mean,
that. We
Kelsey
have
will be a fact.
somebody.
Yeah. Look at somebody actually asking a real question. Kelsey's going to be a factor. Like, he's going to eat. It, it's the Super Bowl. Like, they're going to find a way to get him involved.
I, yes and no. So I kind of feel that. So Ertz was fed the ball a lot,
Yes.
because he was really the only one open and he was playing with so much fire. I mean, it was his
Yep.
last game. You know what I mean? So there
Mhm.
was some feeding that
No,
went
exactly.
into him. And you may find that Kelsey is the one that's open a lot.
Yep.
But because out of everybody, you got Slay, you got
Yep.
Quinyanum Bay, and then you got Cooper DeJean. So yes, it might be the fact that Kelsey is the one that gets opened up. But listen, it's still going to be. I'm not worried about Kelsey getting his. That's the least of my worries. I actually am a little bit more concerned on their running game. I don't want their running game to start taking off. I want to make sure that we play Patrick Mahomes very similar to the way that we played against Washington.
Mhm.
Just you stay in your lane. Make sure he does not get on the outside. Don't let him beat you with his legs.
Yep.
Those are things that and he's been doing that nonstop a little bit in the playoffs. He's been kind of winning these games kind of on his own. So, and it's like, what did I see? There's been 216 passes in the playoffs by Jalen Hurts without an interception. He's got to continue that. It has to be nonstop. Like you have to do that. We have to continue to force fumbles. We had the most forced fumbles in the league.
Yeah.
So it's keep going with that. Obviously, we've been getting on the ball. We've been punching that ball out. We've been making sure that we've been getting the fumbles. We have to win the turnover battle. We have to play smart. And, all we need is Saquon to be a little bit of Saquon. You know
Well,
what I mean? I
and
think that Saquon is.
KC has, has put the ball in harm's way a few times this year, which is
Correct.
something that they haven't done as much in the past. So, I mean, that is unique to this season is they have, turned the ball over.
Correct. And I think that the turnovers, when we get the turnovers, we have to capitalize on them.
Yes.
We have to. This is a game where I want us to score 6 and not 3. We have to score 6. We have to. I think our number is 27. Like we have to get above 27. I think they're going to score 27 points. I know that they scored 30 in the last couple of games.
But those were their only 30-point games. So I mean, So yeah, no, I think you're right. Like if you're in that 30-point range, I think you're pretty solid. What'll be worrisome if it's close late. That is where they find ways to win.
Correct. I 100% agree. That's why I feel like I've been telling everybody it's 36-24. That's my score prediction. 36-24. That it's like almost a 2-touchdown game, and that if it is close, that means the defense is going to have to get an interception and almost like a pick six. Because it's at that point you're going to have to rely on the defense to win the game. I feel that we couldn't rely on the defense last time, but there's not going to be too soggy of a field.
No,
the field's not going to be too wet. You know what I mean? It's not
it's
going to have.
It's no longer Hurricane Katrina on that field anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
So there is going to. I mean, like I said, this is our first road game in
a long time,
like a month and a half. Like we've played 5 consecutive home games. I mean, that's unheard of. And really, if you think about it, we've played 7 of the last 8 games.
I think the Chiefs are like that too because they had obviously home field in the playoffs. Week 17 was Week 17 in Denver when they lost, or was that game in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think it was in Denver.
Okay, so
that's why nobody paid attention to it. Because Denver was the home team.
Okay.
But that, like I said, that's nobody played in that game, so I'm not really concerned about that. They've had one less game than we've had. We've had to play 21 games this season. This is our 21st game.
Yep.
I think that it's going to be, I mean, it's that this is all adrenaline. I know I'm running on adrenaline. You know what I mean? I can only imagine.
Are you really?
It's like I went up to bed early last night. I can't sleep. It's like I'm even now. It's like it's just so.
Let's go. Chris, Bram probably gets like 30% of the snaps at best.
Oh,
I think even less than that.
I think it's maybe. I think 15 to 20 snaps he'll get.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it'll be like third down plays where he'll come in and do like a third down blitz or something. So it depends on how many third downs.
I don't think it's going to be.
Actually, I disagree with that. I actually think that it's going to be more like I think he's going to be in first and second down.
Okay.
I don't think that he's going to be in there for third down. I want him to be what I think that he is going to be, and that is just a boost to the team. That's really what it is. I look at him and Huff as interchangeable because Huff has not been playing great. And ultimately, I feel that like he was really playing awesome this season before he wound up getting hurt. And I'm not sure that he's going to play. I mean, I'd love to see him in there. I can't guarantee that that's going to even occur. You know what I mean? I think that it's I know that they would love for him to be out there, and they'd love for he is a vocal leader on this team, but I just can't I can't guarantee that that arm is 100%. And even if it's at 60%, do you want to risk that? Like, are you going to have the brace on? Are you going to have the tape on? Like, are you going to have that? And like, is
I think
that
he's
going
gonna
to be
have
in your head?
I think
a
he's going to
little
have
bit?
a brace and the tape. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's
right?
what I'm taking about. But like, is that going to be in your head as well? And does that affect your game? So it's like
So,
I'm a
I
little
mean,
nervous about that and all.
it's the Super Bowl, so probably not. Like, I
Right.
mean, he's probably going to go all out, right?
What you know what
Everything after be damned, go get a ring, right?
and what you were saying about the 27 points, like that's your mark or whatever. The Chiefs have only allowed 27 points in 3 games this year. They're 1-2 in those games. Obviously, the Bills put up 30 when the Bills beat them. Then the last game of the year, which people are going to throw out the window because of nobody playing. But then they also gave up 27 points to Carolina, which they beat. But prior to giving up 30 points to Buffalo, Andy Reid went 28. Andy Reid's team went 28 straight games without giving up 27 points.
Yeah.
And in those 28 games, they were 24-4. So
Sure.
if you don't get 27 points, chances are you're not going to win. But the fun part about that is the longest streak in NFL history without allowing 27 points was 34 straight games. Ironically, by Andy Reid when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he has the 2 longest streaks in the NFL with allowing 27 points or less in games.
Yeah, and I think that they haven't faced an offense like this.
Yeah.
They haven't faced an offensive line like this. And that really, I think that the defense is going to wind up like if you go back to 2 years ago, you could almost say that their defense won that game because of the scoop six.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that our defense wants to recover those points. There's never been a coach in Philadelphia history that has gone to 2 Super Bowls with as coach of the Eagles. It's the first time this has ever happened.
Oh yeah, I guess Andy didn't make it back, right? He went to the
No,
championship
He
game.
went to the championship game 4 straight years and finally got to the Super Bowl at number 4.
Right, and then had a
Yeah.
5th time and didn't make it there either.
Yeah.
So, there is something to be said for that. There's been something to be said for this team. And you know what I like about this team is that a lot of these guys know what it's like to win a championship. There's a lot of Alabama people. There's a lot of Georgia people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys that have seen the pinnacle.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, a big, big deal. I think it's an absolute monster deal. And I feel like that's going to play a really big role this time around. I think that they are nonstop. They're going to be nonstop, relentless. I mean, the first play of the game, both play, like really, like all 3 playoff games, the first play of the game is almost like set the tone.
Yeah.
And it's like with Green Bay, right off the gate, we're going to hit it. We fumble. We get the fumble. We score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Against Washington, first play of the game, Saquon Barkley goes off for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got it. That has got to resonate. I want them to feel a little nervous on that sideline. They haven't felt that all season long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they will though, because I mean, the base of this core has been here, and they've been behind in games. So I mean, I don't know that you're going to rattle KC. There's so much veteran, leadership there. So I don't know that you necessarily run into that. But to your point, the Eagles have guys that were in national championships and stuff. So it's not like the moment's going to be too big, and it's not like they haven't endured the week leading up to a championship game where it's not your routine and there's a bunch of other goofy stuff going on and press conferences and media sessions and all the craziness that goes with the Super Bowl similarly happens with the national championship. So, a lot of the guys that are on your team are used to, or at least have lived through some of these moments, which is nice, right? Because I mean, when you think back to some of the teams that lose, and the moment just looks too big for the guys and they look tired, you know, a lot of those guys didn't make it to championship games and end up in these situations. And then they get there and they're somewhat overwhelmed, I would say. At least that's the way the gameplay starts to look. So it's one of the reasons why I do like how even this battle should be. I mean, it should just be fun football to watch, as long as, you know, as long as there's not just a lot of goofy calls or whatever. But I have to think, you know, Super Bowl, a lot of times they swallow the whistle a little bit and, you know, keep the flags in their pocket a little bit more. So we'll see, obviously. Rob had a question about, you know, viewership numbers. I think that people are complaining. They're still going to watch this game. Like, don't let the boycott the NFL crap. Like, nobody ever actually does that. How much was your ticket? What did your ticket end up being?
My ticket I don't have yet.
Oh, you
but
don't have
they're
it
right. I do not have it yet. But they're right. The tickets are down some. I feel that. I mean, first off, they were ungodly high. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and last time that the Eagles were here, that the Eagles and Chiefs were here, they came down towards the end. They're coming down sooner this time around. There's a lot less waiting for the last minute on this one.
I got you.
But I expect to be front and center. Like, you're going to see me. Like, it's going to be the time of that season. Like, I'm going to be right where you've seen me all season long.
That's
right
right.
where you've seen me all season long.
Jay, the Swifties have absolutely helped the NFL. They were estimating last year the added viewership and sales and all of that from the Swifties being involved was to the tune of $335 million. So her being in and around the sport and them showing her all the time is absolutely because of dollars.
Yeah.
They absolutely make a difference.
Yeah, what you were saying about the Chiefs too, about it's very hard to rattle the Chiefs kind of in any situation. And all you have to do is look at a lot of their games. How many times did they fall behind by 13, 14 points and even sometimes 17 points and then find their way to play themselves back into a game? Like, falling behind by double digits does not affect this team, as opposed to, like, if the Eagles are facing, we'll say, the Bills.
They were down by 10 points at the half.
Yeah. But even like
the last Super Bowl we played against them.
If you play the Bills and you get the Bills down 14-0 early,
I feel like Joe probably also was like a Patriots fan for about 20 years. Like, he's just jumping bandwagon to bandwagon.
well, if you're facing the Bills or somebody, or even the Ravens for that matter, in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles get the Ravens or Bills down 14-0 early, that's going to rattle Josh Allen. That's going to rattle Lamar Jackson. If anything, it actually forces Kansas City to focus a little bit more because they're used to playing behind by double digits, especially in the playoffs and big games.
Yeah.
I think not. You know, I understand that. But I don't think that, like, if we were to get up, like, we had a hard time starting the car all season long. But now all of a sudden, in the first quarter, we are killing it. You know, and so that's a big deal. You get up 14-0 on the Chiefs, I'd be willing to bet that it's not going to feel the exact same as it has every other time.
No.
Sure. I think that if we get up 14 points on the Chiefs, and that's an if. I'm not saying that we're going to. If we were to get up 14 points on this team, even in the first quarter, I think that would rattle them a little bit. That would, because that puts them into situations that they haven't been in all season long. You know, and I'm not counting that Broncos game. But there was a close game. It was a close game the entirety of that Bills game. You know what I mean? The first time they played. And of course, Josh Allen won it in the end. You know, and then you have, that playoff game where, like I said, was there ever a doubt that the Chiefs were going to win that game? I thought that they felt confident throughout, even though when they were losing, I think at one point it was 10-7 that the Bills were winning. I thought that the Chiefs looked like the better team.
Oh yeah.
And that's I think that's what you need to do to this team. You need to make them think that they may not be the better team. And I'm interested to see, because this year they're not playing games like the Ring Around the Rosie and stuff like that. Like they're not playing
Yeah.
those types of things. And that kind of tells me a little something. You know what I mean? It's like that this is, if we see anything like that in this Super Bowl, the Eagles are going to win it outright, without a doubt in my mind.
Sure.
Because, like I said, when you start having to pull plays from the back of the playbook, there isn't another page behind it. And
Mhm.
that becomes like, and now you're reaching. Now you're reaching. I mean, Spags is a great defensive coordinator. Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator. Andy Reid is one of the probably the best offensive minds of the 21st century. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's going to go down as quite possibly or arguably the best coach ever.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, like I said, it's arguably, but
Sure.
it's still going to be able to, still have that ability. And I think that it's just time. It's just time. I think that we're going to do it. I think there's no doubt in my mind. Actually, I have no doubts. I have no doubts. I know that I could be wrong. I know that that my confidence level may be way askew, but
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, but but it should be. It should be. I mean, you guys have looked good. The defense has gotten better as the year went on. So we'll just get rid of this. I don't know.
yeah. I tell you that NES, whatever that is coming from is so
Yeah. Who knows?
he just had to turn his camera off. I think he's still there. So
No, I think he was on a call before the show, which is why he was late. And he said, "I'm good to be on for a little while." Oh, I see. Okay. So you are
Better.
still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just had to turn my camera off for a little bit. Something's up on my end because you're very blurry on my end. So I don't know if it's my camera or something else. I'm just turning it off for a little bit to see if it resets.
Oh, yeah. I think it was just your connection because you looked fine on my end.
Yeah, so I'm just going to turn it off for like 5 minutes just to see if it resets.
I gotcha. Usually what works is if you back out of the show and then come back in.
I tried that even before, and it still did the same thing. So I don't know. My computer's been very weird the last 2 days. So
I gotcha.
it's getting old. It's getting old. It's like 7 years old now, so it might be time to invest in a new one.
I mean, that sounds like time to invest in a new one. Yeah. 7 years is a long time for a computer.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Hell, 7 months, half the time feels like a long time for a computer.
But yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be exciting. I think that the Eagles are going to show why they are the best team in the NFL this year. I think that that's going to be from beginning to end that they have to show that. Listen,
Yes.
I said this is the 2-time world champions. Going back for a third.
Back to back, anyway. Three-time champs.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying this is I think it's the only time even in history that a team has even had the opportunity to win a third in a row. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean that they've won 2 in a row and now they're there to possibly win a third. So that's a big deal. You know what I mean? And to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. That's what it is. And I feel like that you can't win it on a split decision. You got to do the knockout.
Yeah.
You have to win by knockout. And that's why, yes, if it gets down late in the game and the score is tight, I get nervous then. Yes, I would get nervous because that's, again, that makes me feel like split decision stuff.
No, and that's the concern, right? Is if it does come down to late game situation, that's where I think KC's better, right? And we've seen them be better. I mean, they've won so many games exactly that way. So that's where it is definitely you're on the edge of your seat worried about it is if you are a field goal, there's 4 minutes left. It's like, ooh, man. Or even if you guys go ahead by 3 and there's like a 2-minute drill left, like you've watched Mahomes make that work.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like if you score last, you need to barbecue the entire clock.
That's what you were saying too. Like this is the first time since New England made it to 3 Super Bowls in a row that someone's going to 3 in a row, but it's the first time since the early 2000s where a team coming in as back-to-back Super Bowl champs, but New England didn't make it for that 3-peat chance. This is the first time that somebody actually has a chance at that 3-peat because they finally got in 3.
Yeah, because the Rams also were in that same boat but did not make it back.
Yep. Because New England beat the Rams, and then Tampa Bay beat Oakland, and then New England won the next 2. So they won 3 in a 4-year stretch. But then when New England went for the 3-peat, they lost to Pittsburgh, and that was the year that Pittsburgh beat Seattle.
Yep.
So this is the first time that a team actually has that shot at a 3-peat. But it's the first team since the Patriots won 3 in a row that's getting to 3 in a row.
Right. So, and that's where I kind of feel like, because I mean, I guess even in the same breath, you could say Green Bay could have had to try in the first
2, and then they lost and didn't get back.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's looking for a blowout either direction, really. I mean, these are good teams, and even if you don't like the way KC got to the record they had, they found ways to get there.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. A win's a win in the NFL. No one cares how you win. A win's a win. You take them how you can get them.
They care that week. But I can tell you in 2 years, when people look at this, they're going to be like, yeah, that was a 2-loss team.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, look at teams like Carolina and the Giants and all these teams that struggle to win games. You mean to tell me that they won't take 8 wins that look ugly as opposed to 3 wins that might look good? No, they'll take the 8 ugly wins and then don't care about how they get it done. They just want the wins.
No, 100%. That's the better lucky than good, right? Like I will take a win. I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss every day of the week.
Exactly.
Of course. Yeah, who cares? Because a win's a win. I don't care how I win a ring, whether I win it 13-3 or 41-33. You know what I mean?
Exactly
like it's that. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what I want the win. I want that second ring. I want it. I want it. I know they want it. I know that they are ready. You know what? As you're saying about the point spread, I don't know. I'm going to look at it right now. In fact,
because I mean, it just depends on the book.
It's 1.5 still.
Yeah, I was going to say most of them have it at 1.5.
The over under is 48.5, which came down a point.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It is because I was thinking over anyway.
That's like a 24-21 score. Like that's what they're going for. Like maybe like a 27-24 score. Like I know that goes over, but it's like they're keeping it right around that level.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was thinking it was the over. Is I think that's about what it ends up being. Is like a 27-24, type of game. Like that. That's what this one feels like. I don't think it's going to be some track meet. But I don't think the defenses are necessarily going to shut them down each direction either, right? Both have good defenses. Both have dynamic offenses. Both offenses are going to score. Both defenses are going to create some opportunities. And that's why I've been, said all show. Like this is going to be this should be a great game. Outside of, a team just melting down for, whatever reason. I always think of the Seahawks Broncos one, right? Like there was no reason for the Broncos to melt down the way they did. Obviously, I appreciated it because it was hilarious, but especially because I had a huge Super Bowl party that year and had Broncos fans there. And I mean, I wasn't even making fun of them anymore by the second quarter. I was just like, man, like, I don't even know what to tell you. But yeah,
it looks like everybody's going to be playing.
And I mean, when Vegas is saying it's a 1.5, it means they don't know either. Like that, That's what that means.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it looks like it went up to 2.5, but then back down to 2, 2.5, 2, 2.5, 2, 2.5, 2, 1.5. So that's been the line movement here.
I think
money
the lowest
line
was on. It was either. I think it was either Caesars or MGM. It got down to 1, but that was it. That's
they got a plus 107 is the money line for minus 130 to Kansas City. It's, they're over under on individual team points. 23.5 over under for the Eagles, 24.5 over under for Kansas City. So that's an interesting, that's kind of where they think that everybody's going to land. However, the over for Philadelphia is a minus 130, where the over for the Kansas City Chiefs is a pick 'em.
Interesting.
More things to talk about here. Patrick Mahomes had just under 4,000 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions at 93.5 rating. Jalen Hurts is only as under 3,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Kareem Hunt has only had 728 yards. Saquon has got 2,005 and is only 29 yards away from having the greatest season ever as a running back per yardage.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like he's 29 yards away from breaking Terrell Davis's record of most yards in a season, including the playoffs.
Which he's obviously going to do.
You would think that. Obviously, Travis Kelce is one that's gotten the most targets. He has been targeted 133 times this season, for 823 yards and only 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Now-
Noah Gray's been their red zone target this year. I think he's got 8.
Right. So there's
Yeah, so when it comes to user picks, BetMGM has 55% on the Eagles right now.
Hey guys, I gotta hop off. My boss is calling in right now.
all
So
right.
we'll
Take
see
it
you guys
easy.
tomorrow.
Later. I'll see you when I get back, or I'll try to talk on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. But I will tell you that it's probably going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I
Another-
mean, you're going to have similar availability that I did, right? Like it's like
maybe
a 10
even
minute
less.
Yeah.
Maybe even less. Who knows? Like I just don't know. And it's 11 o'clock in the morning now down there, not 12.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's
that's actually the only reason it even worked, because if it was the 9 o'clock time that it is here on the West Coast, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It would have been in the middle of practice, right? But
Right.
because it was 11 o'clock there, it was right in between the two. So I had like that, 10-minute section to like hop in. Yeah. So, I mean, I imagine you're going to be in a similar situation where, if you can get in, it's like 10 minutes at best, which that's what it should be, right? You're there for the experience. It should be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm ridiculously excited about it.
Well,
Not a basket case yet. Not yet.
and yes, that Super Bowl was a fun watch. That was a 3-hour clinic it was like the Harlem Globetrotters against their pretend team.
So another interesting storyline that will come out, I'm sure, at some point. You'll probably see the memes about it the moment that it happens, is that this could be the first time that a quarterback watches their backup win a Super Bowl twice. Wentz.
Yep.
Wentz is going to be on the opposing team, and he's
Yep.
going to watch his backup possibly win a Super Bowl for the team that drafted him. You know what I mean? So it's obviously, if Wentz makes it into this game, that game is over. No doubt in my mind.
The thing that's funny is Wentz, arm talent wise, isn't bad. Right? Like he's not a terrible quarterback. I mean, he even put up good numbers with the Colts. They didn't bring him back, but like he had a good season there. I don't count Washington because that was such a dumpster fire. But like when he had his one season with the Colts, he had good numbers, right? It sounds like he's not the most the best leader or most likable guy. Like it sounds like he finds his way off the team despite having pretty decent arm talent.
Well, When you go back to the Colts and you look at why he lost, why they got rid of him there, because he couldn't win the game that they needed him to win.
Yeah.
And that started to become the thing. It's like, hey, listen, when you needed the win in the playoffs against Seattle, you wound up with a concussion. Now, I know I could go as far as to say that it was definitely a bad hit by Clowney. You know what
Sure.
I mean? And
I mean, it's Clowney,
Clowney,
of course.
yeah, exactly. But like obviously you couldn't perform to win that game, and then you have the season that you have the next year. So much so they have to bring in Jalen Hurts, and then you get rid of the coach to try to placate you, and you still won out.
Yep.
So you know what? Go cry somewhere else. Obviously, that rides with you. Now, I have to imagine that there's a different feeling right now for him because he knows he's the backup. He knows he's got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is looked at as one of the best quarterbacks in today's football. You know what I mean? If he's not the
Yeah.
best, and ultimately, when you have the best in front of you, you are second at the very least. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it's like
for
maybe
sure.
he thinks of it like that, but you know, he didn't do very well in that game against Denver.
Sure.
So, I mean, he didn't have the talent around him either, but
Yep.
that I kind of feel that was the thing. My expectation is that if Mahomes for some reason was to get hurt in this game, that game is over.
Unless it's a
Kansas.
high ankle sprain, because he's shown that he plays pretty well with that.
But not when he just receives it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
yeah, it's usually the following week where he's still hobbling around but plays decent. Yeah.
Right. So it's like hey, listen, I remember watching him get tackled and that ankle starting to hurt. And they went to work on him right then and there. And I've told this story numerous times. Like I said, it took 16 minutes to get the treatment.
Yeah.
Or it was like 26 minutes to get the treatment. Usually halftime was like 15 minutes or whatever. This one went long, and he was able to get out there with enough time to be able to actually throw, and it was already numbed up.
No,
So,
and that's exactly where the conspiracy theorists came back in again, right? They're like, oh, they drug it out to try and get,
they didn't. I mean, it was
No.
what it was. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Hey, listen, he still had to perform. He still had to do everything.
Exactly.
Like I said, I didn't. In hindsight, did the refs do what the refs did? No, you're not going to blame the refs. You're not going to do whatever. Mahomes balled out. Mahomes does what Mahomes does.
Yeah.
And I tell you, he's not going to be able to get away with the whole, acting like he's the prima donna and stuff like that. Like I said, that play is going to end that rule completely.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's why they were talking about making it reviewable, is exactly for that. And they do. I feel like the league needs to make a flopping penalty.
100%.
Because then we can get rid of some of this. It's one of the things that I hate about basketball or soccer or whatever. It's like, oh, you tap someone's ear and they're like, right. Like that makes me mad as soon as I see it. Like as soon as I see that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I just kind of want to change a channel now. Like this isn't WWE. Let's play sports. Like, so
that's why the magic spray. I love the magic spray.
That's it.
Everything's great. Woohoo!
Exactly. You got the whole off season to rehab. Let's.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like I know that he won't be able to do that type of stuff. And the truth of the matter is that he won't be able to do that stuff if everybody plays the way they're supposed to play. Stay in your lane. Do not let him get outside. Do not over pursue. You have to be able to play smart here. Like listen, he is the best quarterback for a reason, but he is human. He is human. We've been in this position before. The best quarterback possibly of all time right now was playing us in the Super Bowl, had maybe the best game he ever had, and lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. I was expecting like an 86-7 score from you there, Brad. uh,
Yeah. Now he's not a cheater like
He's not
Brady
a
was.
cheater.
Brady was a different type of cheater.
yeah. So what Mahomes does is
He
technically within
stretches the
this.
rules. Yeah,
Yeah,
he stretches the rules.
it's a gray area, but it's technically there. What Brady got caught doing, or however you want to say it happened, there's actually rules against, right? So there's a difference between massaging the gray area, in honor of Justin Tucker, but and just outright cheating. Like there is a difference there.
Correct. So I think that this is it's it's what I'm like I said, I'm maybe this is where I feel like you can't let him do these things. You don't give them the opportunity to do these things. You
Yep,
just got to play the game the way that you have been playing it all season long.
exactly,
We have done everything right up to this point. Now's not the time to start thinking that you got to change it.
exactly.
You know,
Well, and Joe, yeah, it is going to come down to who can steal a possession. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, it's going to be a defensive play that's going to shift the way this game goes. It's going to be the defense that creates that turnover. Now the turnover has to create points, otherwise it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's going to be the team that steals a possession for sure.
so it's and I want them to steal two. I need us to steal two in this. Like that's what's got to happen here. It's like how many times have the Chiefs haven't turned the ball over in the playoffs, correct?
In this playoff run,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I'm gonna look at it just to see how they did here. The Texans, did they have any turnovers? Interceptions thrown, no. Fumbles lost, 0. So none there. The Bills, interceptions thrown, fumbles lost. They have one turnover.
Okay.
They had one fumble and they lost that fumble. Interestingly enough, the Bills fumbled 4 times and didn't turn it over once. So
they didn't lose. They fumbled for and recovered them all.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it says fumbles and then lost. The loss is where you get the turnover. So they had 4 fumbles and they didn't lose any of them.
That's impressive. Actually, that's surprising. Hey,
but
if anything, that means your team is playing heads up, right? Like they are actually doing what they're supposed to do, where they are following the play. Like if you're that close to those fumbles, it means your team is actually playing the way they're supposed to play.
Right. And as I look at this, there has been 5 sacks on Mahomes.
Yeah.
5 sacks on Mahomes in the playoffs. So their rushing yards in the playoffs, they had 50 against Houston. And then they had 135 against the Bills.
Yeah. Well, one of the things for the Eagles defense that is a huge thing is they're going to have to find a way to keep Mahomes from being able to leak outside and scramble on you.
Correct.
That is such a brutal way to not get stops is when when he runs, it's not even like he looks athletic, right? Like he's just kind of lumbering as he does it. It works. He finds a way to get down there, whatever. But for the Eagles to win this, they're going to have to find a way to limit that action, because when he can do that, man, it's rough. You feel
that's
bad.
Well, and that's like I said, he's never rushed for 2 touchdowns in a game in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He was able to do it against the Bills because they did not do what they needed to do when it comes to that. Listen, we've learned this in the second half of the Eagles game. It's like I remember just watching him do that running play, and The biggest problem with that running play was the strong safety who had it, was kind of watching him slipped on first step.
Yeah.
And when he got up, he pouted rather than pursued. And it took, he that because of that, he took the wrong angle and Mahomes got caught from behind. You can't do that. There is none of that here. Like this is, you got to make sure to be on that. Like, because ultimately, had that first step worked, Mahomes would have gotten maybe a first down, but it wouldn't have been a 35-yard run.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that changes everything as well. So it's like those are the things that you have to, like I said, you just got to be very disciplined.
Yep.
Stay within what you have been doing. It's been working. It's been working. You can't say that we ain't played good teams. We have played good teams.
Absolutely.
We've gone up against good schemes. The last time we played them, I was in their house and we beat them. It was a regular season game, though. Everything's different in the playoffs.
There is no doubt.
Everything's different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I'm just trying to still catch my breath here. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
like I
it's
said,
going to be good. It's going to be good. And Jay, you're right. Like it's probably not going to be necessarily the big hit. We've seen Mahomes get rocked and keep playing at a high level. So I don't think it'll be that. It's going to be the second part of that. It needs to be. You got to win the turnover battle against KC. Like there's no getting around it. You can't give KC extra possessions and hope to win because you won't. They proved that year over year, right? Like that's not we watched it this year. I mean, we've watched them over 4 years of if they win the turnover battle, they win for the most part. So you're going to have to create some turnovers, some extra opportunities for that Eagles offense. No question.
Yes, I agree. And when you think about it, when you think about the Chiefs and how they've done, like even the Super Bowl that they lost, where I didn't think Patrick Mahomes should have even played. You could tell he was still a little loopy from the concussion, and that they never gave him a concussion, but he was still hitting guys. Like he was throwing the ball, hitting the guys in the helmets and dropping it. Like it was Tyreek Hill. I won't forget, got hit in the helmet with the ball. Like, you don't ever see Tyreek Hill.
And also in that game, he was missing both tackles. Like both his offensive tackles were hurt. So he wasn't right. Part of his line was hurt. And I mean, he was still delivering strikes. They couldn't catch him, but he was delivering. So, I mean, it very easily could have already had the three-peat done.
Right. So this is, I mean, and they haven't been. No, they weren't at the Super Bowl 4 times in a row. Because they wouldn't have gotten it. Yeah, they wouldn't have gotten a three-peat because the Joe Burrows showed up.
I'm just laughing at the chat. They're about to start fighting back and forth. So
Yeah, it's Thank God Joe lives in Italy. Because I mean, it's. I enjoyed. Hey, listen, Joe. It's likely I will not be on Monday, and if I am on, I don't know how worthwhile I'm going to be. Like I might just, actually, it might be really good show because of all that, but it's like I just don't know how good I'm going to be able to be. But the next time I am on, Joe, after the Super Bowl, win or lose, I need you to definitely be here. I need you to definitely be here, Joe. So you're here all the time. You are here all the time. And you know what? Real quick, before we even get, because and how about the Eagles going to Australia in 2026?
Right.
I knew that people woke up in Australia and called me. They called me and were like, "This is happening. You guys are going to be playing the Rams." And I knew it. I knew we were going to go. That was why we went to Brazil. I knew we were going to be the first team to go to Australia because why not? We've got 2 Australians on the team. We only see one really because the other guy is one of those. Hey, listen, he's learning the same thing that Mailata had to learn. But ultimately, he's they got 2 Australians on the team, and we've always had Australians on the team. Like Australia has been a hotbed for the Eagles, so it's going to be a lot of fun to go there. I'm super stoked, and so is everybody in Australia. They are like the fact that it's in Melbourne and not Sydney. I thought we were definitely going to Sydney, but I'm going to definitely I'm going. Like I'm there 100%. Amongst all the other good news that came out this week that we're going to the Super Bowl, we're doing this, we're doing that. We're going to Australia, baby. We're going down under. I'm going to go there, and I'll be there I'll probably be there for at least 10 days.
Oh, I mean, you have to, just because it takes so long to get there.
Yeah, so it's like I'm hoping that my hopes are that the week before we will have a Thursday game, and then go over to Australia so that we could have the full 10 days and then leave after the game.
Yeah. Chris, the Super Bowl always has crazy security. Like that's normal. So I'm not I'm not a wrestling guy, like not my thing, unless you're referring to that being the Pro Bowl, which I also didn't watch.
Yeah, me neither. And we didn't even get a chance to talk about what your game looked like, which because my excitement took over.
No. It's fine because we got other days this week. You're going to be there at the game, and so there's going to be some of the Senior Bowl we're going to talk about. There was some pretty good feel-good stories. So I mean, be sure for everybody watching, be sure to tune into that. That the MVP of that has a really cool story about it. But other than that, we're at the top of the hour. Like this today went quick. Didn't even get to the ad segment.
Yeah, too busy talking, too busy hyped up. So.
Oh yeah, no. Like I'm excited. We're finally here. It's Super Bowl time, man. Let's go. All right. Well, if you've been watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us get our content to you. And of course, if you're watching on Roku TV, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Pags will be in the air, so it'll be me and Stat Guy. We'll see y'all then.
Take care, guys.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports.